Hey everybody, Chris Negley with Elegant Estates in Lansing, New York. Today we're January 10th, 2020, and we got some mild weather coming through the area. Usually we're under snow by now. Got a little bit of snow, but looks like we're gonna be in the 50s today. So, and it's raining out right now, so I figured I'd seize on the opportunity, go grab some easy joint sand. I got a project that I need to finish up. It's a restoration of a walkway. It was more of a repair rather than a restoration, but we decided to use easy joint in the natural limestone. So, but today what I wanted to do was I wanted to take the opportunity while I was going to grab some sand and talk to you about the difference between soft wash and pressure wash. We get people that aren't quite familiar with what soft washing is, so I figured seize on the opportunity to educate you guys on the differences between soft washing and the advantages of soft washing over pressure washing. So hang in there and we'll get into it. Soft wash versus pressure wash. When we get called in to do wash projects, first thing I'll do is I'll actually ask, what is it that we're washing here? Are we washing hardscapes like paver patios, retaining walls? Are we washing poured concrete? Are we washing a deck? Are we washing asphalt shingles? Are we washing vinyl siding? Is it stone on the side of the house? That kind of thing. So unfortunately, in some areas, especially in our area, there's a real lack of education as to how to go about washing these surfaces. And that's where we come in. We actually have the ability to both pressure wash and to soft wash. We prefer to soft wash. We feel like there's a superior clean. That said, the difference is there is a need for using pressure at times for different media. So I wanted to touch on 7 or 8 of the differences and why we would choose the soft wash over pressure washing for a majority of the surfaces. Your first advantage is with the soft wash, you're going to get a longer lasting clean. We use detergents on our soft washing, and that's allowing us to actually kill off a lot of organic growth that's on the material. And again, that kind of goes into the second advantage. First advantage is you get a longer lasting clean. Second advantage is we're actually killing off the material that's growing on your surfaces. A lot of our siding in our area, we are in New York, so we have humid environment in the summertime. We're wet in the spring, we're wet in the fall. Obviously we're wet in the winter because it's raining right now, and we're in January. But it's definitely a breeding ground for mold, for mildew, for algae. So a lot of our houses in our area have either wood siding. Most of them are going with vinyl now. There are some stone veneered homes, and then there's some old 1800s houses that are all cobblestone. So we pretty much run the gambit on all that. So those are prime areas, prime breeding ground for attachment to your house. The mold, the mildew, the algae. So we use detergents in our soft wash. We also do offer the pressure washing that we can incorporate some detergents. But when it comes to the soft washing, we can actually analyze how bad your house is. And if it's really bad, we may have to turn up the detergent levels a little bit, draw a little bit more of that detergent in. And when you're using a pressure washer, you really can't, you're kind of capped with how much detergent you can incorporate into your wash mix. Whereas the soft washing, we can really turn it up and put a hot mix on there and really do a good job cleaning. We're actually cleaning the surface. I kind of liken it to when people ask me, well, do you really need to use a detergent? And the answer is yes. And I always say, do you wash your dishes in just water? Do you wash your clothes in just water? Do you wash your car with just water? That detergent allows us to really put some of the soils in solution and be able to rinse those off your home. And our detergent actually has algicides and mildewcides, I guess, in there that will actually help to kill and detach some of the moss and the lichen and algae that's on the side of your house, and that'll come right off of there. So we get a longer lasting clean. We can actually kill off the material that's growing on your home or on your surfaces, whether it's a patio. We have some clients that have had flagstone patios. Flagstone's big in our area. We have flagstone patios and limestone walls, and they're really bad. They have moss all over them. They get really treacherous. They get that algae on the surface of them, and they are slipping and sliding all over the place. So we're able to come in there and actually kill that off, not just wash it, kill it off and get it off of there so it returns it to its natural, like new condition, and it's safe for you to utilize. So it's kind of a twofer there. Longer lasting clean, we're killing that off. Since we're killing stuff off, we're actually reducing allergens. You know, some people that are highly allergic to, you know, pollens and molds and that kind of thing, I mean, that stuff is growing on your house. So if you're allergic to that and you haven't done a soft wash on your house, it's time to think about it. You want to get that off of there, and that'll reduce some of the allergens around your house. And if you personally aren't allergic to that kind of thing, I mean, think about your guests. If you have anybody coming over and they're allergic, you know, it's probably a good idea to just take that off of there. And, you know, and set all of that aside. I mean, we're talking about, you know, most of the time we're talking about people's largest asset, you know, is your home. So that's the most expensive thing that people usually buy over the course of their lifetime is their house. So it's wise to have that washed, you know, every 12 to 18 months, you know, with a good soft wash, and somebody who knows what they're doing. So essentially, we're disinfecting that house and that structure or that surface. So that's another thing is we're killing it off, we're reducing the allergens, and we're disinfecting the surface. Now with the soft wash, the nice thing about soft wash, and I'll get into a little bit about the actual pressure that goes into it. Soft wash uses really low pressure. I mean, we're talking a PSI that rivals your garden hose. We bid against some people who are pressure washers that just go to Home Depot, they buy a $400 or $500 pressure washer, and now all of a sudden they're in business, and they're slinging water at the side of your house at, you know, 2,500 PSI. Now, soft washing, and even our pressure wash rig, we've designed so we can dial that all right down to a couple hundred PSI. But our soft wash, we don't run anything more than 100 on our soft wash. So when you think about it, we're putting no more pressure on the side of your house than what you would just spraying your garden hose. So that being said, we use low pressure, so that's an advantage. The other advantage is that since we use low pressure, you're not damaging your structure. You know, we've heard these stories, and we've seen the damage of pressure washers. They'll come in, and, you know, whether they mean to or not, you know, they're using high pressure water. So we've seen cracked windows, we've seen holes in windows, we've seen holes in siding, you know, we've seen streaks in siding. You know, we in the soft wash and the pressure wash world call it the Zorro effect. You know, you think back to the Zorro movies, and, you know, and that's what it looks like. You know, you don't notice it when they're doing it, but when it dries, you can notice the streaks, and you may have had this experience where it streaks the side of the house after it's dried, and that's where the high pressure comes in with the wand, or they get a little bit too close, and there's enough pressure where it removes the oxidation. So there's another advantage of the soft wash, is we're washing, we're disinfecting, we're killing off the material that's on the side of your structure or on the top of your structure, whether it be a roof or paper patio, and we're not removing the oxidation. So there's a big key. Now on vinyl siding and on painted surfaces, over time the UV will actually break down that surface and it'll be oxidized. So if you want to know if you have oxidation, I've made videos on this. Check out our channel, dig a little deeper and you'll find videos on oxidation. If you rub your fingers up on that surface, say it's vinyl siding, and you rub your fingers really hard on that surface, you'll actually darken the surface where you rub, and then you look at your fingers and you'll have like a chalky residue on your fingers. That's the oxidation that's coming off your house. So the soft wash, we don't actually remove that because we're not using enough pressure to remove it. We're still cleaning because we're cleaning with the detergents. We're not cleaning with pressure. Pressure wash will just force off the material that's on the surface, whether that be algae, oxidation, mold, mildew. That's all fine and dandy if you do every square inch, then you're removing all of that. If you don't, then you're leaving oxidation in some areas, you're removing oxidation in other areas, and then you get those wand marks all around your house. And then once that dries, and now you're committed, now you have to restore the surface of your siding. So if it's a vinyl siding surface, in order to restore that and really get rid of those marks, you have to degrease and scrub every square inch of that siding. So consider that when you're hiring somebody to soft wash versus pressure wash. Pressure washers, historically, they'll offer you a really good discount. It'll be really cheap, but then in the grand scheme of things, if you don't want to live with those streaks all over your house, then you hire a pressure washer. Now all of a sudden you have to restore that surface, and that gets really expensive. We can restore it, but usually when I see structures that are like that, I back away from it because it's just too much work. You're up on ladders doing it, you're scrubbing it, it's just not worth it. So keep that in mind. So safe for oxidized surfaces. Look at my notes here. And the other thing is liability. If you have a contractor coming in using pressure, they have to get close to the house in order to get a good clean. So if you have a two-story house, or if you even have a one-story house with a gable end, they have to get up on a ladder, and then they're holding against pressure to blow water and blast that into your siding, and you're blowing water underneath your siding, and it's getting all over the place, and you got a guy up there trying to keep his balance on a ladder and blast hot, pressurized water at your house. So soft wash, we've designed ours where, we can pretty much reach anywhere from 30 to 40 feet in the air, right straight from the ground. So we can service, the only time we have to get up on ladders is if we're offering to do like a gutter cleaning, and we'd like to get up there right at that level. Thought I just saw our builders were building a big barn, and I think they were headed over there to wrap things up. We got one more day left on it. So anyways, where was I at? Yeah, the only time we're up on gutters or up on ladders is if we're doing a gutter clean, or if we're doing a roof wash. We'll get up at the eave level and do a quick roof wash for you. Or if there's hard angles where we can't really get the right angle from the ground, we just need a little bit more elevation, we'll climb part way up on a ladder and just spray it. But even then, we're not using high pressure, so it's easy to hang on and just put some detergent on the areas that we need to. So that's pretty much it. I kind of went on a little longer than I was hoping to, but that kind of gives you somewhat of a deeper dive into what soft washing is versus pressure washing. And I'll go ahead and I'll record another video now about some of the things that you can soft wash. There's a lot of surfaces around your home that could use soft washing and pressure washing as well. So I'll do a separate video on that, so check that out. And thanks for tuning in.